Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
I can't f***ing believe it. They f***ing caved on the shutdown. Democrats, you sold out the entire shutdown not to get what you wanted.
The shutdown may have been long and painful for millions of Americans, but at least it achieved jack squat.
And we are on day 41 of the Trump government shutdown. Democrats drew a line in the sand. They said, we are not going over this. And today, after 41 days, they pulled out a shovel and a bucket, and they ate all that sand and got nothing for it.
I don't understand how a Democratic senator goes, wow, we won really big. Let me cave now.
And now they just caved and surrendered. I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over.
Yeah, so much for the Democrat Party being the party of the people and the party of the average man and all of that stuff. They wanted the suffering to continue through Thanksgiving until they got their $1.5 billion, or trillion dollars, $1.5 trillion for health care for illegals, among other things. And what I said yesterday, I think, is true, and that is that the shutdown was nothing. It was about nothing, but it was just the next thing. So for the last 9 months, the Democrat Party has been looking for the next thing to go after Donald Trump. They don't have the political indictments. They don't have Russiagate. They don't have 2 impeachments. They don't have 91 felony counts. They don't have any of that nonsense. They tried to. There was a tree stand near where Donald Trump was going to take off. I guess near Mar-a-Lago. So somebody was ready to assassinate the president again. Hasn't happened, but they already tried it twice. So they're looking for the next thing, and it started with Signalgate. Signalgate was a big thing, and then oh my God, there was national secrets being traded on all of this, and then there was Elon Musk as a Nazi, and Doge is whatever the hell, and they burned down the Tesla dealerships, and then of course there was the idiotic no kings protests and no oligarchs protests and all of that, and then there was Donald Trump is tearing down the White House, the sacred White House. Oh my God, there's this part of the White House that's so sacred, it's so historic, we don't know what's in it. But it's definitely historic, and he's tearing it down, and he's partying at Mar-a-Lago while they're tearing down history, and his buddies are buying the new ballroom, or I don't know what the hell. Anyway, and this was the next best thing. This was the next thing. This was the next thing. There was nothing to it. It wasn't about anything. The Democrat Party had the opportunity to extend those Obamacare subsidies, and they didn't do it. They were made to sunset at the end of 2025. This just came up as an excuse to extort $1.5 trillion out of us because Donald Trump, in the big, beautiful bill, cut $1.5 trillion worth of crap out of the government spending. And guess what? They failed.
And as we speak, you have large majorities of the Democratic Party in the House and the Senate who are angry about stopping the shutdown. Yeah. It's unclear what their end strategy was, how far they wanted it to go, 80 days, 120 days. I don't know.
Until the next best thing. Until the next thing.
We do know that Democratic recriminations,
they're going to find something,
have now extended to the point where they're arguing with each other over why they shut the government down in the first place. Yeah. Was it really about those subsidies? Did they just want to show that they could stand up for Trump, but they needed an issue to hang that on?
Yes.
They don't even agree on why they did what they did.
Thank you. What did I just say?
It was worse than pointless. It was cruel. It was capricious. It was dangerous. It was radical. It was extreme.
When you cause people to suffer, so someone else will be blamed for it, that's about as evil as it gets.
Shut down the government in a failed...
I like what they did to the Jan Sixers.
...attempt to extort $1.5 trillion for their pet projects, including, as has long been documented in black and white, full funding for health care for illegal aliens for several hundred billions of dollars. They resulted in, as a consequence of their shutdown, massive flight delays for the American people, huge impacts on public safety, federal workers going without pay, people who are living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to make ends meet. This was a Democrat sabotage of the Trump economy that has brought record prosperity to the American people. The Democrats, as President Trump has said, are acting as kamikaze pilots, trying to hurt America and to hurt Americans solely because they cannot stand how successful this administration has been.
And the administration's kicking butt, actually. Inflation is down, and the manufacturing is coming back, and price of eggs and everything are going down. Here's the president talking about that last night, and it's undeniable. You can feel it. You can feel it. You know, they had this election last Tuesday, and in 4 Democrat states elected Democrats, and they made up, like they did Joy in the DNC convention, they made up some sort of anti-Trump movement, just like the No Kings protest, bought and paid for. They just made it up to try to cover up the success, because 3 weeks ago, the Democrat Party was polling the lowest it has ever polled. People think the Democrat Party are worthless. The Democrat Party is falling apart. They're doing everything they can to duct tape the hull of their Titanic. It's not working. It's not working. And I told you the lies aren't going to be big enough to cover up the success.
When Walmart says a Thanksgiving meal costs 25% less under Trump than under Biden, to me, that's better than...
So Republicans need to spend more time talking about how great the country...
I'm going to tell you, I lived in flyover country for the last decade, and I saw what the Biden administration did to the average working person. And I saw people having to work 2 or 3 jobs when the price of groceries went through the ceiling. That first year when inflation was 9%, when you used to be able to buy chicken breasts at Walmart for $1.88, and now you can only get them on sale for $2.89. That's a 50% increase in the cost of that. And I saw the price on everything go through the ceiling. Everything go through the ceiling. Then I saw the price of homes go through the ceiling. Then I saw the house that I rented for $1,800 8 years ago is now $2,800. Then I saw the price of a mortgage tripling, the interest rate on a mortgage tripling, and I saw it all. And the Democrat Party, for all of those 4 years of the Biden administration, lied about it. They said that you're fooling yourself. I drove across this country. I've drove down through Mississippi and Alabama and Arkansas, and I saw small towns where the only store there is now is a Dollar General, and I saw people walking on the side of the road with their Dollar General bags into trailers and homes that looked like had been abandoned. That's what has happened to small town America. I saw it in my hometown, Neola, Iowa, Persia, Beebytown, Minden, all of these towns. They don't even bother putting up the American flag when Joe Biden was the president because none of the businesses are open. I witnessed it all, and for you to act like that didn't exist and act like Donald Trump somehow is the cause of it, you're out of your nut.
Isn't less time complaining about the Democrats?
We have potentially the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Yeah.
We have, again, Biden did in just a short period of time. Biden couldn't raise anything. No investment. I think investment went
no investment in America. No trillions of dollars. No visits to other countries with promises of trillions of dollars of investment in America.
Out of our country. I'm now at almost $18 trillion in 9 months.
They're going to build Hemis here. Toyota's bringing $13 billion of manufacturing here.
Biggest in the history of the world. China's never done it. Never done anywhere near that.
Drill, baby, drill.
And all that money is coming in. It's investment. It's building auto plants. It's building AI plants. By the way, we're leading China by a lot on AI. We have potentially the greatest. Already it is.
Yeah.
But we have, when these things open up, there's never going to be a country like what we...
Yeah, and then we're going into the 250th anniversary of America, and isn't it kind of amazing that we've exposed all of this rot and corruption and graft so we could baptize this deep state by fire, so we could have another 250 years? The Democrats see there's a storm coming, and they're doing everything they can. And the shutdown was just another thing. It was just another thing. And they don't care how much people suffer. They don't care how many people die. They don't care how many people starve. They open the southern border to 20 million illegals. They stuff the Trojan horse with unvetted for disease and crime people to come into the United States, load them up with benefits. Dear God, are you kidding me? New York City, $500 a night. Roosevelt Hotel, a year and a half, illegals. SNAP benefits, SNAP cards, Visa cards, $8,000, $10,000 on them, while New Yorkers lived on the damn streets. And all of that caused the cost of housing to go through the ceiling in places like New York City and elsewhere. Angus King is a senator. He was on TV yesterday, and he said, we took on Trump and we failed.
Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were two goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was...
Okay, what? Why? What's he doing wrong? Joe Biden took $25 million from the Chinese Communist Party. Joe Biden got us $200 billion, $300 billion given to Ukraine for a pointless war.
Getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was there was zero likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up to Donald Trump, the shutdown actually gave him more power. Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP and SNAP benefits across the country. Oh, by the way, Joe, you're going to love this. Guess who's getting paid during the shutdown?
Listen, this is fun.
Not the park rangers or air traffic controllers. The ICE agents. Under special law.
Well, you got to get all those illegals out that Joe Biden brought into the country and loaded them up with benefits so they'd vote Democrat. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it was just another thing. That's what the shutdown was. It was just another thing. And today, when it goes through the House and the government is opened up again, the Democrats will start mining for something else they can cause pain and suffering and try to get Donald Trump to be blamed for it. And we've got to be ready for it. But congratulations, Democrats, you got your asses handed to you once again. And unfortunately, a lot of people suffered in the meantime. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
$71%, that's what Camels lost. since they put him back on the air. The morons at ABC were too blind to see that about Kimmel no one cares. 85% in a key demo. That is what Kimmel lost. Why do they keep him around? To keep losing ground. Still air him no matter what the cost. Sinclair must feel real stupid now. Next star still with regret. 71% wonder where they went. On Kimmel's failure you can bet.
Disney stock was $197 a share in March of 2021. Now it's $122 a share.
Disney must be in panic mode. They'd pull this show if they could. Why did they bring him back? This a funny hack. Suspension should have been for good.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to Newsmax.com/listen for details.
Are actually now complaining and whining and fighting each other over the fact that they didn't inflict enough pain. This supposed party of the working class, that's what they tell each other all the time, is now out there saying, gee, we really should make people suffer more. 42 million Americans have not been able to get food assistance, needy people, for the last month because the Democrats want to give health care to illegals. The Democrats are actually now complaining.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. It was just the next thing. They were looking for something else. Looking for something. Oh, the CR's coming up. What do we got here? What can we cobble together? Ooh, I got an idea. Let's say that those Obamacare subsidies that we voted to sunset in 2025, let's demand that those continue, and we'll make it a part of a $1.5 trillion scheme to get health care for illegals and also refund PBS and NPR and PBS and all that crap. Yeah, that's an idea. Okay, we'll get him this time. I got him. But people are going to suffer, you know. Oh, yeah, we don't even care. Well, you know that the air traffic controllers aren't going to work. I know. You know, but the great thing is, let's keep it going through Election Day and see how it works. And then when blue state, Democrat states elected Democrats, and by the way, there was a terrible gubernatorial candidate in the state of Virginia, then we'll use that as some sort of momentum to keep the suffering going. But you see, they realized that was just a fart in the wind. Those elections on Tuesday were a fart in the wind because a week before that, the Democrat Party was polling worse than it's ever polled before. Because they haven't learned the lesson from getting their rear ends kicked in November, and they're lurching further left, making them even more unpopular. Yeah. So, you know, this is just the latest thing. Here is Donald Trump talking about negotiating with Democrats today.
So the House is going to vote, and I think they're going to vote positively. I think most people want to see it open. Only people that hate our country want to see it not open.
What can we do around Christmas? I don't know. Maybe we can shoot down Santa's sleigh and blame it on Donald Trump.
Open, because our country is doing so well, so we don't want to waste these times. These are precious times. You know, we have $17
get him with a drone.
trillion plus being invested on our country. That's many times more than any country has ever had. We don't want to be wasting time. Yeah. So they tried to basically renegotiate the great, big, beautiful deal.
It was like the COVID of 2025. That's what this was. It was like the COVID of 2025. They were trying to C-block Donald Trump's administration and his economy.
They weren't able to get it.
They wanted to kill the fourth quarter.
And now they said, let's close up our country and we'll see if we can get it. But again, getting it for people that came into our country illegally from prisons, from gangs, from mental institutions.
He was actually right on that, 100%.
From places that you don't want. And
Democrats didn't even care when 300,000 children were trafficked across the southern border for sex and labor. They didn't say a damn thing. Do you see any of these fentanyl PSAs when Joe Biden was the president and all those hundreds of thousands of young Americans were murdered by China because of fentanyl that was coming across the southern border? No, you didn't hear it. So don't act like you give a crap about us now.
Giving them think of it, $1.5 trillion in medical costs and things. You just can't do this.
Yeah, you try to bring the dregs of the world in the United States, have them be dependent on the government, and, of course, credit the Democrat Party. Make sure to give them lots of ballots to vote illegally. But there's no illegal voting in this country. There's no voter fraud. Yeah, there is. Are you out of your freaking mind? Are you out of your freaking mind? Here is John Fetterman, who I'm gaining a lot of respect for. And I hope that there are enough Democrats that will join with him and become a part of the 80% of us who want to come together to save our country like we did before the election.
I think my party crossed a line of now putting 42 million Americans with their SNAP benefits, and making flying less safe and that kinds of chaos, and not paying our military. I mean, that was a red line for me that I can't cross as a Democrat. And I think that's been described, country over the party, and now that I think that's been the truth throughout it, and it's only wrong.
Yeah, he chooses country over party. Sonny Hostin, who ought to be just talking about celebrity news and summer salad recipes on The View, because that's what that show should be doing. My God, who the freak listens to that show for their political opinions? She decided to go after John Fetterman. Didn't end so well.
It was a horrific mistake. Governor Gavin Newsom called it pathetic.
She lives in a gated community. She could have given a rat's butt if you lost your SNAP benefits.
And a surrender. Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of
She spends more weekly on her pedicures than you do for your mortgage payment.
The aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble?
You wouldn't know which way to point a gun.
That the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens, because
we're going to fix health care. You ruined it.
That gamble is wrong. 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent.
I feel sorry for her husband.
Their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong.
I'm going to go mow the yard.
And I believe you are
wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values. And now, if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, or because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations, and a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago?
There you go, John Fetterman. My goodness. Unbelievable. And I got to tell you, this makes me kind of believe that the Democrat Party could be saved. But I don't think there are enough John Fettermans out there to save it. To be quite honest, I would assume maybe if you're a Democrat who has a modicum of common sense, and I doubt I'm talking to very many people, you might want to kind of look at this guy, because you're driving off a friggin' cliff. You are. And you just lost again. And it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going, and you're going to fail into oblivion as the country becomes a much better place to live. Adam Guillette, the president of Accuracy in Media, joins us next. Always a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson, not proud member of the 4 a.m. club. You know what that is? Well, that's the time that I usually wake up every night and can't get back to sleep. Then I found Beam's Dream Powder. Now, Beam's Dream Powder is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients, including reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. It's designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling amazing. And unlike other sleep aids, there's no next day grogginess, just great restful sleep. Plus, Dream tastes incredible, and it's become a part of my nightly routine. Simple, easy, effective. Dream is made right here in America, supporting jobs, quality, and the principles we stand for in America. Thank you very much. Beam is going to give my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount, up to 40%. Try their best-selling Dream Powder. Get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Newsmax, you can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax. That's shopbeam.com/Newsmax. Again, use the code Newsmax at checkout. That's beam.com/Newsmax and use code word Newsmax for up to 40% off.
as we speak, you have large majorities of the Democratic Party in the House and the Senate who are angry about stopping the shutdown. It's unclear what their end strategy was, how far they wanted it to go, 80 days, 120 days. I don't know, but we do know that Democratic recriminations have now extended to the point where they're arguing with each other over why they shut the government down in the first place. Was it really about those subsidies? Did they just want to show that they could stand up for Trump? But
it was just the next thing. That's what it was. It was the White House tearing down the White House, historic last week, and then before that it was No Kings, and before that it was Elon Musk as a Nazi, and before that it was Signalgate. It was just the next thing. They were looking for something to C-block Donald Trump and the success he's happening. But the only thing that is holding him back is their failure. That's what's holding him back. They thought they had some momentum with last week's election. That did not work. They still are unbelievably unpopular, and the shutdown was just the next thing. Adam Guillette is the president of Accuracy in Media. Joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. How you doing today, Adam?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So any thoughts on the shutdown and why the Democrats did it?
Well, for me, the bad thing about government shutdowns is eventually they end. And honestly, I think the Democrats were merely holding out for the elections to end. Yes. And once they proved to their base that they were big fighters standing up to Trump, they had no reason to keep fighting that fight. People had already gone to the polls, and they could easily cave.
I guess I'm kind of... I won't say surprised, but all the late night hosts in unison, Sonny hosted among others, are expressing their outrage that the suffering didn't continue. I think it is ridiculous that without any consideration whatsoever regarding the suffering that the shutdown was causing. They wanted the Democrat Party to get what they were demanding, which is $1.5 trillion that had been taken out of the budget from the big, beautiful bill. It is remarkable.
I think it speaks to how in politics you're going to have more success over time if you say one thing and stick to it, whether or not it's popular. I think that's why government keeps growing each and every year beyond the citizens' ability to pay for it. The Republicans often talk a great game in spending. They say we're going to cut spending, rein in spending. Doge is going to cut $1 trillion of spending, and then they promptly spend more anyway. At least the Democrats are consistent.
Yeah, well, and they're consistently failing, actually, is what they're doing. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the plate today, obviously, to get to, Adam, and including the Trump administration. Donald Trump is considering suing the BBC. I have a little audio here, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this. That's not what I'm looking for. This is actually what I'm looking for, Adam. Here it is.
That's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people
We're actually going to play it right now.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
But tonight you are saying to our viewers that you will go forward and file a defamation lawsuit against the BBC.
Well, I think I have an obligation to do it because you can't allow people to do that.
Yeah, well, he's obviously had that happen a few times to him. What are your thoughts on I doubt the $1 billion is going to happen. He always, fires off very large numbers. I think he did the same thing to CBS. But what are your thoughts about him going after the BBC? BBC's already had two of their major heads, Tim Davie and Deborah Turness, step down. What are your thoughts?
Well, as somebody who runs an organization where we do hidden camera investigative journalism,
yes.
Every time we release a video, the bad guys claim, you got us out of context. You got us out of context. which we never, ever, ever do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the BBC, the renowned news outlet funded by the British taxpayer, caught red-handed cutting something out of context to deceive the public. And, you know, it's one thing when MSNBC lies and smears their private company, their free speech, knock themselves out. You can lie and smear all you want. This is essentially an agent of the British government lying and smearing the leader of their closest ally. That's how serious this is. That's how outrageous this is.
Yeah, the average person in Great Britain pays £174 per year if you have a television. So the country is invested in the BBC, and the BBC the parts of the speech apparently were 54 minutes apart. That just amazing. And they're saying, well, there were a lot of other things in this Panorama documentary that were complimentary of Donald Trump, so it makes up for it.
Unbelievable. And in all of the clips that they included, what are the odds? They left out the part where Trump specifically said we're going to go protest peacefully and patriotically. Oddly enough, that one didn't make it into their clip. To be fair, with consistency and to hold American media accountable too, our state media, NPR, did pretty much the exact same thing.
Yes.
But at the very least, the taxpayers no longer have to fund NPR, whereas the Brits are stuck funding a lying, smearing, disinformation news outlet year after year after year.
I went to a tremendous event with GB News. GB News is like the Newsmax of Great Britain, and they're taking, they're growing exponentially like Newsmax did and is continuing to do after the 2020 election, where everyone was told you couldn't tell the truth about the election and everything was disinformation and misinformation. But this also happened, Donald Trump delivered a speech on the January the 6th, and the broadcast networks and YouTube refused to put it up. He actually said, go home peacefully. I've got the video, but they also did that. So this was not an uncommon thing. This happened worldwide in a media that is dominated by a liberal narrative.
Well, people wonder why we're so divided in America, and it's because we're basically seeing two different versions of reality. And as you said, if you watched the entire speech, you saw, actual reality. Whereas if you saw their heavily, selectively edited clips patched together like Frankenstein's monster, you saw a dramatically different version of reality. Well, that's what makes it hard for people to come together and agree on things.
Yeah.
Now, if you live in another country where you don't have Newsmax and you don't have these other outlets, you talk to any Brit, you talk to any European, of course they think Trump's a monster, because that's the only depiction they've gotten from nearly all of their outlets that lie to them year after year, day after day.
Do you suppose that the cracks in the foundation of the BBC are happening? I mean, clearly they have media dominance. They're bought and paid for by taxpayers in Great Britain. Do you see the same thing happening to the BBC that has happened to ABC, CBS, NBC, the letter networks here?
To a degree, sure. The fragmented media landscape takes away more of their audience every day and every year and sends them to online resources. But the BBC was far more ingrained into British culture than NPR and PBS were in the States. It's not just a news source. It's not just radio. It's every format of media. It's original television programming. It's narrative films and documentaries. So it's so built into the British culture that I think the majority of the Brits will say, well, that's a shame, but at least they got the two bad people responsible fired. Well, when the two bad apples are the people running the show, what does that say about the institution as a whole?
Exactly. They should have stuck with Benny Hill and Doctor Who. That's what I think. Adam, I appreciate you being on the show today, man. Where can people find your glorious investigative work?
Sure, our website is aim.org, AIM.org. We're active on every social media platform, and we're releasing new hidden camera investigative journalism literally all week this week.
I love it. Thanks. I appreciate it, Adam. Thanks for your time today. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Rutherford County.
Right now.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
Here's Jim Gossett on the BBC.
It was just a video. The BBC should know. To doctor it would cause real trouble.
That's what our media does.
$1 billion Trump could win. And then yet again, he could win double.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
The BBC acted foolishly. What does that say about them? When it comes to TV, Britain would be better off without them.
Hey,
it was just a video. The record will show. The BBC pulled a fast one. It would be a dream if their latest scheme became their last one. Donald they defame. In a lawsuit they'll be named. The BBC is shaken. They're rotten to the core. $1 billion or more from them will be taken, cause they ain't got no morals or ethics or scruples or conscience.
Pretty much that is Jim Gossett, of course. Jim Gossett Comedy. Just go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy, if you'd like to help him out. He does a couple songs for me every single day. That's just one of them. He did another one about, let's see, Chuck Schumer. We'll do the Chuck Schumer song later on the show. And it's the only radio show, conservative radio show in America that uses comedy. And I also do a TV show. It's called Rob Carson's What in the World. It does comedy, too. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. The Democrat Party thought they had some momentum. And like I said, they used the shutdown. It was just another thing. It was another way they could C-block Donald Trump. They looked for an excuse. They and I've listed the things they've already tried this year. Signalgate, Elon Musk is a Nazi. Then you move it down to the no kings and the no oligarchs. And then you move into he's destroying the White House. And then you move into the election. And they thought they had some momentum. And then that didn't work. And so they gave up the shutdown. And they looked for an excuse with the shutdown to get $1.5 trillion that they wanted for illegal aliens back there, and they thought they would project this on Donald Trump. This is what the Democrat Party does. It's like Antifa. They say, oh, you're the fascist. No, you're the fascist, you little bastards. Honestly, please, we're not the fascists. You behave fascistically. You are the definition of fascist. So give me a break. But this is what the Democrat Party does. They project, and the projection isn't working anymore. It's not working anymore. People don't believe it anymore. And the Democrats had got the blame for this, regardless of what Sonny Hostin says. Go back to just talking about delightful summer salad recipes and have people on from TV shows nobody watches. That's what The View should do, honestly. Dear God. Linda Moynihan with the New York Post was on last night on, I believe she was talking to Jesse Waters about the direction of the Democrat Party. And I said of the Tuesday election, they were how did I put it? I put it very eloquently. A fart in a Cat 5 hurricane. I think I thought I said, because they really did not change the direction. They didn't change the temper of the American people. 2 weeks ago, half as many people considered the economy to be the primary issue as when Joe Biden was the president, because Joe Biden's economy sucked and it was terrible and a lot of people suffered. And the Democrat Party and the liberal media, the leftist media, acted like it didn't exist. And you're over here going, hello, yeah, it's incredibly expensive. We can't afford a home anymore. We can't afford groceries anymore. We're working 2 jobs. But then when Donald Trump becomes the president, all of a sudden, no, yeah, the economy's terrible. Really? Why didn't you say D word for Richard when it was really terrible? When we were all suffering? When all the businesses in America were shut down? When inflation was out of control, when the price of a home doubled, when interest rates tripled, for God's sake. But Tuesday, the Democrat Party thought that they had the wind at their back. These elections showed that the American people were rejecting Donald Trump. That's not true. Here is what Linda Moynihan said about the election of a communist in New York City.
Quick to say this is not representative of New York, of the entire country. And as you know, there's a lot of crazy people who live here. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he was able to win in New York City doesn't apply to anything else in this country. This is a city that elected Bill de Blasio, not once, but twice.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. And Bernie Sanders, he's been in Congress for 40 years. He has not been able to light the fire of socialism in the country. His matches are damp, to put it mildly, and he is convinced that Zohran Mamdani's little victory in New York City is going to sweep across the country. And Democrats, and I love it, by the way. I love it, because I was thanking God that the Democrat Party didn't learn anything from November. They didn't learn anything from their leftward lurch with Kamala Harris. And now they're lurching further left because Zohran Mamdani, the guy who Kathy Hochul decided to endorse, and now she's behind in the polls, behind a Republican. Her approval rating plummeted. But they're convinced this is the direction of the Democrat Party needs to go full-blown into communism and socialism, which Bernie Sanders has not been able to do in 40 years.
The capitulation of a few Senate Democrats is as backstabbing a betrayal as we will ever need.
Oh my God, an angry Democrat. You never hear that.
To unite as a true Democratic Party.
Oh wait, no kings. Elon Musk is a Nazi.
And dismantle the leadership.
Trump is a fascist and a Nazi.
That put us in this position. Mamdani has shown us the way. It is time to end.
Please go that way. Please go that way.
The era of the feckless Democrat.
And I'm sorry to say that many people in the Democratic caucus are part of it. I would say we have 8 or 9 out of 47 people who I would consider to be progressives. The issue right now is doing primaries, getting people involved in the political process. Yeah. So I think we need to take on the Democratic establishment all over this country.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. See what it does for you. Everything else has failed. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson for Virtual. All right, let me see. Who is talking on the line here? Let me grab some copy here real quick, guys. I've got to do something here real quick. There we are. Hi. Got a lot of talking. We were off of the YouTube yesterday. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened, but America Marcy, it's good to see you. Russell Reeves as well. You guys are busy talking today. Busy. Russell says, or maybe the party of the mentally ill that believe your value is based on how many likes your TikTok page gets. Okay. It's hard for me to see these in context. I try to keep all the pages open. Glad to see you guys watching, and I try to read the conversations you're having as the show goes on, but I'm easily distracted. Let's see, Jellyfish Hunter, how are you? Laureen Serbois is watching on the old Facebook page. Over on Rumbly-Roo, we got the usuals, except for there's a new one, Bobby Co 101. Love your show. Don't catch the stupid. Thank you. Let's see who else here. Grandma 59, good to see you. Good to have you back here. And Scarecrow too. Nice. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Over on YouTube, is again, like I said, a lot of people watching who we are getting to see regularly. And like I said, and Melvin Lamphere, you're new. Good to see you. I guess you're from Massachusetts. Right? Is it Massachusetts? I could be wrong. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. All you guys over on the Twitter, too. We got a lot of people watching on Twitter. We always have a lot of people watching on Twitter. We've got a lot of stuff coming up on the show. What am I going to do next? Hold on. Oh, yes. Here we go.
About 220.
In the beginning, when
when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree.
And it's
sad because it's not the Democrats we grew up with. I'm not going to pretend I don't notice how different they are.
Yeah.
How mean they've become.
There you go. There you go. But keep going leftward, Democrats. It's working well. Keep going. Yes. Hey, it's that time of year when Birch Gold gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday when you convert an IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Birch Gold will send you free gold for every $20,000 purchase. I don't know if you knew this, but gold has gone up $100 this week per ounce. Started off the year $2,600. It's $4,100 an ounce now. You better get on this gold train before it's unaffordable for you. Yeah. Global uncertainty is the reason. Central banks are investing in gold and buying up gold, which means it's going to go up in value even more. It's gone up dramatically, 60% this year. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and all you have to do to get involved and get that 401k into something that's actually performing is text my name, Rob, to 989898 to claim your eligibility for free info on gold and your opportunity for free gold with the purchase by the end of November. Okay, so it goes until November the 30th. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for full details. There are a lot of gold companies out there. There are a lot of precious metal companies out there, guys. There's only one, Birch Gold, and I have my money with them. I believe you trust me. I hope you trust me because I trust Birch Gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold, and you could get some free gold by the end of the month. How's that sound? Okay, so coming up, we're going to get into this Berkeley protest. It's unacceptable. This is not America. It is going to be shut down. The DOJ is launching a full investigation to UC Berkeley. Harmeet Dillon is going to give some people a colonoscopy. That's all coming up in hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
then now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
But now they're not even trying to hide the fact that they created the shutdown from the start. And they're enraged that their leaders caved like John Lemon's futon on Fat Guy Friday.
Ooh.
So how was it Trump's shutdown to begin with? A shutdown causing so many awful things. He was starving children and causing planes to crash. And TV ladies had to forego their nail appointments.
I went and got my eyebrows done the other day. And my eyebrow technician was like, they're going to fire 2 technicians from here because all of our clients don't have money to come.
And now that the shutdown ends, the same dopes that pinned it on Trump are now blaming the Dems for ending it. They claimed compassion for those suffering, but were secretly behind it. If it meant the Dems got something out of it.
Yes.
At least they're finally admitting it was the Dems shutdown. They owned this fiasco like Sonny Hawson's ancestors owned slaves.
Ouch.
And now Dems are calling on Chuck to step down. But if the shutdown were truly causing Americans harm, why would they call for his job? He was doing something good, am I right? That would be like James Carville firing his assistant for feeding him more mice.
There you go. That's the reason why Greg Gutfeld is kicking butt is because conservative comedy's on the ascension because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. And also, there's truth in it. That's the most important thing. When I was writing for Limbaugh, the most important thing is satire isn't satire unless there's truth. And if you just sit there and lie every night during your monologue and say things about Donald Trump that aren't true, it's not funny. It's not funny. So that's why he's kicking butt. There you go. And of course, again, the shutdown was basically just the next thing. It was another attempt to try to go after Donald Trump. They've been doing it for 9 months now, throwing a temper tantrum, and this is just the latest thing to do a face plant. You know, do you remember when we could gather together and be proud of our country? Do you remember standing and with your, everyone when the national anthem played and weeping with joy? Do you remember that? You remember when I grew up, we had Schoolhouse Rock, we had Great American Melting Pot, we had all of these, the shot heard around the world, all of this, and we didn't think twice about it. I remember when I was a kid, the U.S. Olympic hockey team, men's team, beat the Russians, and it was like the next day when we finally saw it, and I was like 12, 13 years old, crying my eyes out. You know, the Democrat Party is in its death throes right now, and we're getting ready to go into our 250th year next year, and the patriotism and the joy are going to overwhelm these people as they spiral into hell. Gavin Newsom has got everything to do with running for president and nothing to do with his state. He is the worst poser, the worst example of a human being, the fakest politician I've ever seen in my life. And you got 2 people in the Democrat Party who have no shot of winning the presidency, who are doing everything they can just to defy Donald Trump. One of them is Gavin Newsom. The other was J.B. Tetzler in Illinois. Both of them that think that they're going to become president. Pritzker is even less of a chance of winning. There's nothing likable about him at all. The only thing that Gavin Newsom has is his veneers and his slicked back hair. I mean, honestly, he looks like the Joker had a baby with I don't even know. As he was gallivanting around the world, Gavin Newsom, he said that the backing down from the keeping the government closed and suffering, he said it was pathetic. He said this isn't a deal, it's a surrender. Don't bend the knee. And this guy is traveling around the world while his state descends into hell. This is Lee Zeldin talking about what's going on in California while Gavin Newsom travels around the world campaigning to be president 3 years from now.
Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom need to get off of their asses and allow all of the people in Los Angeles to rebuild their freaking homes and their businesses. Okay, you have people who are suffering extreme amount of frustration, anger, and pain because of whatever type of bureaucratic red tape, delays, and incompetency is resulting in the local and state leadership preventing people from building what is theirs.
He is so profoundly selfish that he has abandoned the people of California in many ways to campaign for president. He thinks he's going to be the president. I got news for you. I don't believe the American people are going to vote a faker like you, who has a massive amount of failure in his past, including $130 billion for high-speed rail, and it was originally going to cost $30 billion, and it was supposed to be done 5 years ago. They haven't laid a single ounce of track. Also, $30 billion for homelessness, and homelessness has gotten worse, and nobody knows where the money went. Other than that, you're doing a great job there, Governor. Hey, I think I got some good news. Let's do our good news jingle, shall we?
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning. Lots of winning. It's oh so good.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of winning as we head into the holiday season. I'm looking forward to Christmas and Hanukkah. I already got my Norfolk pine. I've got some ornaments with my dog's faces on them, and I'm going to put those up there. And we're going to have a great fourth quarter because the government is open and the economy's kicking butt, and people are making more money and everything. Here is Donald Trump talking last night. I believe it was to Laura Ingraham about the price of eating going down.
We are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had. Their talking points, costs are high. By the way, the only thing is beef.
Coffee.
Is a little high because the ranchers are doing great. Coffee, we're going to lower some tariffs. We're going to have some coffee come in. We're going to take care of all this stuff very quickly, very easily. It's surgical. It's beautiful to watch. But our costs are way lower. Now, Walmart came out with a statement that they do every year for many, many decades.
Yeah.
And they said that a Thanksgiving meal costs 25% less this Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Coming up, think of that, than it did last Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and you can feel it too. Last night, Scott Bessent was on with Rob Schmidt on Newsmax, just to remind you of how bad things when Joe Biden was the president.
I think what the president is frustrated by is the media narrative, because the media narrative, the 2021, 22, 23, and even 24 during the campaign was Americans don't know how good they have it. It's a vibe.
They ignored the pain we went through when Joe Biden was the president. I witnessed it every single day.
Session. I still remember that word. And
you did too?
Everyone from the New York Times to former Fed vice chair to Wall Street Journal even, they said it was a vibe session, and instead of owning the inflation, they just...
I watched the price of used cars double. I worked at a Toyota dealership at that time. I watched the supply chain implode, where we went from 600 cars on the lot to 5.
Said the American people don't understand how they're feeling. And we came in, we inherited a mess.
Yeah.
We have brought the inflation down.
Yes.
And Rob, there are two ways for curing affordability. There's bringing inflation down, because some of the prices we are going to be able to bring down. So energy prices, gasoline,
down quite a bit.
4-year low.
Yeah.
4-year low. Mortgage rates, when the president was January 20th.
Just wait till the head of the Fed steps down in May. The interest rates are going to go down, and home sales are going to go up. That is just fantastic news. Here's Scott Bessent yesterday. I thought it was kind of funny. He was on MSNBC, because MSNBC is trying to make it like Donald Trump's, focusing on other things like giving money to Argentina and whatnot, and not focusing on the American people. And Scott Bessent had him for lunch.
How does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans? You're the president's point person on that. Can you explain to those here who are feeling the pinch, including America's farmers, why the United States is helping out Argentina?
Well, do you know what a swap line is?
It's currency swap, yes.
Yes, but what is that?
You're the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, but why would you call it a bailout?
That is how...
In most bailouts, you don't make money. The U.S. government made money. Yeah. We used our financial balance sheet to stabilize the government.
Yes.
One of our great allies in Latin America.
Yep.
During an election, the president there won in a landslide. The government's going to make money, and I would rather use peace through economic strength than have to be shooting at narco boats coming offshore if the government collapsed.
Yeah, there you go. And by the way, freedom is spreading through South and Central America, because Donald Trump's making those areas great again, too. Coming up, I've got a lot of information on the ridiculousness, the absolute unacceptability of the violent riots that took place at Berkeley when the TPUSA event happened. And now the government, the DOJ, is not going to take it anymore. And I'm hoping that this is the beginning of the end for this nonsense, this affront to free speech. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
It sucks to be you Democrats, you. Inflation is down, Schumer's a clown, he'll get his due. No Kings was a flop, but you will not stop. I'll bring the world peace, more wars I will cease, we'll come out on top. Drug boats we took out, we ended all doubt. The border is closed, Letitia is hosed, while Democrats pout. The new ballroom will be complete, while Democrats will suffer defeat. It sucks to be you, miserable you. It sucks to be you.
Now a new NBC News poll shows the Democratic Party has reached an all-time low in popularity.
Why and all you want about the National Guard, Antifa pals, we will bombard. It sucks to be you, you know that it's true. It sucks to be you.
The FBI says Democrats got ballots from China. The CCP are dirty rats, sending ballots from China. Fake driver's licenses the Chinese supply to cheat in 2020 can't be denied. Cash Patel produced the proof. China helped steal it. He's about to raise the roof. I can't just feel it. Democrats, they are nervous, and they ought to be. If you got ballots from China, should not go free.
Each Wednesday night at 6 p.m.
Dig it.
Relive relentlessly slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
That is the radical left at Berkeley. Berkeley was supposed to be some sort of, harbinger for free speech at one point in history. Back in the 60s, right? Back in the 60s. It was still lefty garbage back then as well. But the other night there was a Turning Point USA event, a peaceful event. Rob Schneider was hosting it. And the left came out, as they want to do, Antifa present. And I'm hoping and praying that these sons of bees are thrown in jail, to be quite honest. And I hope some heads are cracked. I really, really do. The left has run roughshod across our country for decades now. I remember watching this as it gradually grew on campus for years and years and years. You'd see people like Ann Coulter, going to do a speech, and she'd get protested, all of that. And then it kind of got worse, where actually they would get into infiltrate the auditoriums and chase the conservative speakers away. And now they're just all out attacking the people as they go in. And the DOJ is launching a full investigation into UC Berkeley after the university failed to protect conservatives. And make no bones about it, they did fail, and they did it intentionally. That's what they do. They protect the hell out of liberal speakers, although they don't need to, because conservatives don't do this kind of crap. But they actually enable this stuff to happen on university campi. Here is Harmeet Dillon. She's in charge of the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ, talking about what happened at Berkeley.
The Berkeley, local police as well seem to be unprepared, undermanned. They treated it
like the Portland police actually help Antifa out when they're violently attacking ICE.
As if it's a both sides problem. It is not a both sides problem. When a violent mob like Antifa comes and attacks like this, it's what we call a heckler's veto in First Amendment.
It's time for the children to get a spanking.
Amendment jurisprudence, and given the fact that there has now been a terrorist designation here, the Joint Terrorism Task Force is going to be looking into this together with the DOJ, my Civil Rights Division, and the FBI, and understand what happened here. How did it come to be the case that when Berkeley has noticed that this type of violence occurs on the campus, when conservative speakers come to speak, and by Rob Schneider,
they put the protest zone right in front of the entrance so people would have to walk through the violence.
Had been scheduled to speak. It was a sold-out crowd of 2,000 people, and less than 1,000 people were there in the stadium because people were intimidated by this violence. So this is not a consequence-free situation. Berkeley has announced, we're so happy that 1,000...
Take every damn bit of their federal funding away.
People came to hear this. That is not the whole story. The story is that when Sonia Sotomayor comes to speak, when the Dalai Lama comes to speak, the Berkeley campus somehow is able to protect the speaker and all of the people who attend. And when it's a conservative speaker, it isn't. So we have some serious questions and concerns about this, and there'll be a full federal investigation.
Yeah, this sort of temper tantrum has been going on for a very long time. University of Missouri, remember when Black Lives Matter overtook the quad, and the mom professor from the J school came out and protected them, and people tried to walk through the lines. Jewish students trying to go to school in different campi around the country, and anti-Israel protesters getting in their faces, having no-go zones on campus. This bullcrap has to end, or we shut down the damn universities. It is utterly, utterly ridiculous. This is Andrew Colvett. He's a Charlie Kirk Show producer, talking about how coordinated this was to go after people just coming to see people that speak at a university.
It seems like it was a coordinated attack on a peaceful event.
It was.
You can't make this stuff up, as you said in your lead up, that they say in their flyers that we're inciting violence just by being on campus.
Years ago, the left started saying that words are violence. They're setting up for this. It's been a gradual progression where conservative speech is this, and then words are violence. They've literally said that, and it gives them excuse to do this sort of crap.
And hosting an event with Rob Schneider, a comedian, an actor. And the irony is just so rich, because they say that our words are violence, but their actual violence is mostly peaceful.
Yes.
And so they cordoned off, the university put the free speech plaza right in front of the entrance.
Yes.
So, of course, all chaos broke out, and we were funneled into one entryway into this venue, and it took for that car backfire before the cops actually got into gear and actively engaged the crowd, these agitators, these far-left Antifa thugs?
It's time for this stuff to end. In a letter sent Tuesday, Harmeet Dillon notified the president, James Milliken, the UC Board of Regents, that the DOJ is investigating the university's handling of the incident, potential violations of federal civil rights law. They're demanding all communication between campus officials and student groups concerning the events or protest, all security policies, manuals, and staffing records from November the 10th, all video, audio, and digital recordings from UC equipment and personnel, all complaints, incident reports, and investigations connected to the violence. There has to be hell to pay. Here is Harmeet Dillon talking about the possibility of a conspiracy between the police and people at Berkeley.
Absolutely. It could be 18, 241, 242. We also have hate crime statutes that apply. I believe that some of the epithets that were hurled at some of the members of the crowd made reference to their race and to other protected characteristics under the law. The comments about Charlie and
they hate the Jews, you see.
So forth.
And they really hate Christians.
We will be obviously looking at, a deep dive into all the potential criminal and civil aspects of this. But, the obvious version here is, oh my gosh, it's Antifa attacking people. But I also have concerns about UC Berkeley's history of not protecting conservative speakers on the campus. And I also have concerns, as the top civil rights lawyer in the United States, about whether the Berkeley police are doing their job under the law to protect citizens equally. That's an equal protection concern, Laura. It's the type of thing that we do bring in the Civil Rights Division, and we are going to be looking at that very seriously here in this case.
I like to say overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism, and that's what we do, but I'm going to leave it up to authorities to kick some ass, because honestly, that's where it's going. They're committing acts of war, and they need to be met with reciprocation. I'm not saying fatal, but certainly pepper balls, certainly batons, but honestly, this nonsense has to end. We have a country that is here to protect unpopular speech. Okay, we have a First Amendment for that reason, and that this is allowed to happen. It's supposed free-thinking Berkeley. The university system has become the opposite of what it was supposed to be, and it's been this way for a very long time. Here's Andrew Colvett of the Charlie Kirk Show.
I'll tell you, 2 weeks before the event, we had to switch to the university's ticketing system. And so
listen to how they hijack and sabotage these events.
Happens when you do that is it opens it up for far-left agitators and protesters, disruptors, to grab those tickets.
Yes.
And so what we had happen is that there was about 500 tickets of people that didn't show up, and that's their whole game. They want to grab the tickets and then leave it empty to make it look like we don't have a big growing movement in the wake of Charlie's assassination. And the truth is, thousands of people were not able to get into this event because either their tickets didn't work, they got scared away, or harassed and attacked and had to flee the scene. And the university's response was, it's not our job to fill your event. Well, we filled it anyways, but there was thousands more that wanted to be there and were unable to make it.
This is the sort of activities that the left is doing. They do it with no kings. They did it at Tesla dealerships. They're doing it at American universities. And I think the American people have had a belly full of it. It is gone as far as it can go, and it is time to turn it back. Fortunately, we have somebody in office who is causing these universities to lose major funding for anti-Semitism and whatnot, and hopefully they're going to take a giant bite out of Berkeley's budget. Enough is enough, and if all else fails, shut them down. Shut them down. They're failing our children, teaching them garbage, and then when you try to speak freely, attacking them physically. It's ridiculous. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson, not proud member of the 4 a.m. club. You know what that is? Well, that's the time that I usually wake up every night and can't get back to sleep. Then I found Beam's Dream Powder. Now, Beam's Dream Powder is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients, including reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. It's designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling amazing. And unlike other sleep aids, there's no next day grogginess, just great restful sleep. Plus, Dream tastes incredible, and it's become a part of my nightly routine. Simple, easy, effective. Dream is made right here in America, supporting jobs, quality, and the principles we stand for in America. Thank you very much. Beam is going to give my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount, up to 40%. Try their best-selling Dream Powder. Get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Newsmax, you can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax. That's shopbeam.com/Newsmax. Again, use the code Newsmax at checkout. That's beam.com/Newsmax and use code word Newsmax for up to 40% off. Hey guys, it's Carson. Forget fresh olive oil. I eat olive oil every day. I got rid of seed oils years ago. Life is too short to not have wonderful fresh olive oil, and I mean fresh. Olive oil packs the most flavor and healthy ingredients when it's fresh from the farm. And that's the problem with supermarket olive oils. They're not fresh. They can sit on the shelf for months growing stale. That's why I get my olive oil from small, award-winning farms, thanks to a fellow named T.J. Robinson, also known as the Olive Oil Hunter. When I tasted T.J. Farms' fresh olive oils, I fell in love with their vibrant, grassy flavors. They're incredibly delicious on salad, veggies, pasta, meat, fish, you name it. And as an introduction to his Fresh Pressed Olive Oil Club, TJ is willing to send you a full-size $39 bottle of one of the world's finest artisanal olive oils, fresh from the new harvest, for just $1 to help him cover shipping. There's no commitment to buy anything now or later. Get your free $39 bottle for just $1 and taste the difference freshness makes. Go to GetFreshRobCarson.com. That's GetFreshRobCarson.com for a free bottle and pay just $1 shipping. GetFreshRobCarson.com. Rob Carson Show. One of our favorite guests, Blaine Holt, Brigadier General, U.S. Air Force C-17 Commander, Deputy Military Representative to NATO, Newsmax contributor, dog owner, Doggy Daddy, joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. How you doing, bro?
Good to be with you. Got the dogs right here on my lap.
You are a devoted doggy daddy. I gotta tell you, I miss my dogs. They're in Kansas City, and I miss the kids, but I really miss the dogs.
Oh, it's wrong here, bro.
Yeah, well, the dogs. They always say, no matter what mood they're in, they're always happy to see you when you get home. A couple things. First of all, Veterans Day. I hope you had a nice Veterans Day, sir.
Perfecto.
Yeah, good. I also saw on your Twitter feed at the Irascible, and I just have been watching this amazing video that you posted in color of a French pilot, Jacques Trolli, flying over France, the Belgian coast, over the devastated battlefields after World War II. That is just remarkable footage, bro.
Yeah, it was World War I, and it
was one. Okay, it was one. Okay.
Oh yeah, and the devastation, and you know why that I posted that, because if you were to do the same thing over Ukraine right now, you'd find the exact same look.
Wow. That is remarkable. It's the Forgotten War. I lived in Kansas City, and the World War I Museum is remarkable. Have you ever been?
Oh yes, definitely.
Oh my brother, it is remarkable the amount of suffering that so many men have gone through over the years. Let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. It's off the front page. Donald, I was I don't know, hoping against hope that Donald Trump was going to be able to negotiate something. But you said there's some developing things happening. Russian forces entering a major Ukrainian city. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, so in the center of what we call the line of contact, or the front, there is a city, and it's called Pokrovsk. And the reason that it's important to understand what Pokrovsk is, it has been the logistics hub and the lifeline to the Ukrainian forces. Well, starting in May, Russian forces opened up an offensive on Pokrovsk, and they have finally now encircled it and taken it. And there's really thousands of Ukrainian troops that are trapped. And the Russians are entering the city under cover of fog. They're coming in on motorcycles and all kinds of Mad Max-looking vehicles. Why would they do that? Well, this is how they're avoiding drones. It's a very desperate situation there, but the ramifications are great, because after Pokrovsk, there is really nothing stopping the Russian army to get to the Dnieper River. Really? And so where I think you're going to see the Russian government now start to make some demands for capitulation out of Ukraine and demand final talks.
So the possibility of Donald Trump, he brought up that Ukraine would be able to maintain the land that it has. That whole thing has changed. The dynamic is changing in the favor of Russia now.
It is changing. There are some very interesting plans being bantered about. World-famous macroeconomist Martin Armstrong at Armstrong Economics, he's consulted with almost every single president and world leaders. He was asked by a member of the Trump administration to construct what a peace plan now would look like for Zelensky. It's a fine plan, and I hope the president is considering it and getting with the Russians immediately to start to talk about how we carve out what the new Ukraine is going to look like and how we bring peace and stability to that region. The war has to end. It's not a military answer.
Well, we sent hundreds of billions of dollars wholesale, gave them a blank check, which half of it we don't even know where the hell it went to. I would assume that that gravy train has cost them greatly with regard to munitions and whatnot, and so they're probably fighting with very little, maybe on the end of their supply chain militarily, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would, and what the Biden administration did when this whole thing opened up is they may have sent incrementally weapons on painstakingly slow wartime logistics that didn't really exist in a McNamara Vietnam way. What we didn't give them was a strategy. What we didn't consult with them on, how do you do combined arms and how do you make efficient use of weapons? That was not done, and that's not on President Trump's watch either.
Yeah, why did they bring up Tomahawk missiles last couple of weeks?
You know, a negotiable element to the game. Do you start to sense Russians want to now do something because you said the word Tomahawk?
Yeah.
But quite honestly, we're not bringing Tomahawks to the world's #1 nuclear power.
It was just a Trump card. It was a trump card, and it looks like the Russians played. What? Honestly, you're a veteran. You devoted your life to the defense of the United States. What the hell was accomplished? What was accomplished for Russia? What was accomplished for Ukraine by all of these hundreds of thousands, millions of people dying and being injured?
Millions of people. We had what started out as a deterrable war. You even had Angela Merkel and the former president of France, Hollande, admit that, in their view, the Minsk Accords, which we were holding on to all these years since 2015, that it was a ruse, that they weren't going to keep up with that. Well, the Russians had been making demands, and finally they went across the line. So what have the Russians achieved? Well, they paid a very dear price for this real estate that they now hold in Donetsk. But what about Ukraine? Yeah. Ukraine is enduring life-changing, indelible scars that will be with them in perpetuity. And what we want to hold on to is now the port of Odessa. We want to give them a self-defense capability, but they're not going to be in NATO. They'll be lucky if the world allows EU accession. And what I think is there needs to be full audits, accountability, and European leaders who need to be held responsible for the continuation of the war, even though President Trump has tried to be the peacemaker to come in, and they've resisted him.
And also, I think we need to look at Joe Biden essentially inviting Russia to invade.
He did. Yeah. He did. The trap was set in Kabul, where we had our military disaster. And we showed a lot of American weakness there, and that we wouldn't stand by allies and partners. And and that was an enticement. And so you saw immediately Russian forces were building up on the border of Ukraine. And then Joe Biden said those words, well, maybe just a small incursion. Yes. Maybe just a small incursion. You never say that kind of thing to a determined adversary. Of course. And again, even that night, we could have worked something out with the Russians to prevent this disaster.
Well, we find that Joe Biden went over and delivered a speech about corruption to Ukrainians. The Ukrainians were doing an eye roll because they knew that Joe Biden was involved in corruption in Ukraine, his son with the Ukrainian gas company. And I don't doubt that Joe Biden did that as a distraction, to be quite honest. I don't doubt that.
World's largest crime scene. Joe Biden admitted as much when he was on the CFR stage as the vice president about how he pushed around their justice system. Yeah. The Wall Street Journal reported what the CIA was talking about with their 12 little bases that led up to the color revolution in Maidan Square in 2014, which was attended by Nuland. She's handing out cookies to people, and John McCain was there. This is sick. This is sick. And what we need to do is we need to go back and review this stuff, or we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot more to cover. Blaine Holt, can you hold on through the break, my friend? Much to cover on the other side?
Absolutely.
All right, this is the Rob Carson Show. God, he knows his stuff. Newsmax.com.
Get me there.
More with Blaine Holt in one moment. I got to digest what he just told us. Holy heck, that last segment was amazing. I do want to mention something. I get so tired of the phishing and the scams and the malware that's out there. My computer here in the studio, which I spent a lot of money on, got completely infected a few weeks ago. Had to reload all the damn programs, all the passwords, and they send you these emails that have logos like it looks like it says iCloud. It's not iCloud. It just says cloud. And it says that you need to update your web protection whatever payment plan, and you go, oh well, I don't want to be, I don't want to have it affect my credit. So you give them your credit card information, thinking that it's updated. They've already got your other, but in fact you're just giving them their credit card information, and you're screwed. Then I found out about WebRoot Total Protection. WebRoot Total Protection. I mean, out of nowhere, I'm finding about WebRoot for just $20 for the year for this computer. I can end all that nonsense. Cybercrime is spiking during the holidays, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. 53% of shoppers are concerned about being scammed during major shopping days. They make logos look similar to logos that you trust. They come up with all sorts of lines that deceive you, and they're very good at it. WebRoot eliminates this nonsense. Phishing scams, fake emails from brands offering holiday deals, shipping updates, fake shipping notifications, fake e-commerce sites. Family protection from WebRoot includes kids, students, seniors, other dependents, up to $1 million in expense reimbursement for stolen funds and out-of-pocket costs due to identity theft, advanced dark web monitoring. And by the way, WebRoot customers love their product. For over 25 years, a 90% retention rate, 24-hour U.S.-based customer support for identity theft restoration. Hello! And you're going to save 60% when you go to webroot.com/Carson, webroot.com/Carson. Again, webroot.com/Carson. I was a little disappointed to see Germany responding to Donald Trump going after Trinidad or Aragua, Venezuelan drug boats. Apparently, they're not going to share intelligence with us now. What's going on with Europe and what we're doing with the cartels?
Well, Germany may be the latest one, but the UK started it. and
wow.
And look, hold on. This is great news. This is just lovely. Let me explain.
Okay.
The fact that they're squawking and getting all angsty about us interdicting drug-running supply chains means that we're tapping into very sensitive spots about how money is laundered by the cartels.
Oh.
Yes, this is about the drugs, but let's go back to things like, I don't know, Nicaragua and the Iran-Contra affair. Let's go to the Opium War, where the Brits brought China down. So drugs have been a favorite of the intel communities, especially the deep state segments of them, and they're squawking and they're screaming, what are you doing? We don't want you disrupting this. Well, this is what I believe the president's war on the cartels is truly about. He's ripping the Jenga block out of the bottom of the tower that holds up all the illicit and illegal activity. The cartels go through the Chinese Communist Party, the shadow bankers, the private bankers, and the World Economic Forum, and on and on. And you know what? All of the illegals, even the compromised little worms in the swamp there in D.C. where you're at, they have something to lose out of this. And so you're going to see a lot of crocodile tears over really fast speedboats with fentanyl in them.
I was wondering if there had to be some sort of connection to Washington, D.C., because why else would you allow this to happen? Why, Blaine Holt, for the last 4 years have we allowed the fentanyl to kill hundreds of thousands of young people? And not until Donald Trump do we see PSAs, do we see a war on fentanyl. Not a damned word said as Venezuela trafficked drugs here as it came across from China. No one held accountable for it. I was wondering, somebody had to be on the receiving end of something on this.
Oh, many people. And so here's the thing. My warning to Americans is as the cartels start to get squished and pushed, don't forget, we've had 4 years of open borders. The cartels are on every main street in America, and they're interlocking arms with all of the terror cells and the People's Liberation Army folks that came across, and all of them. So we've got to come together as communities, and at the same time, we're demanding that the DOJ starts the season of accountability wherever the evidence takes them, like yesterday.
Yeah.
You can't phone this in from Tampa Bay anymore, and those are necessary things to keep our country secure, and to realize the vision that President Trump's trying to lay out for this country.
There's nothing that makes me smile more than Antifa thug getting his ass beat or a drug goat getting blown up. I just watch it again and again and again.
Well,
it's just neat.
But we want to see trophy bucks. We want to see the big dogs, the ones who really have the power and abused it just at an amazing level.
Yeah. Let's finally, about a minute here, potential revolution brewing in China. What are you hearing?
Yeah, so the Chinese people are getting crushed. Okay. Their economy is going so far south. Money is fleeing the country. They have new rounds of COVID and other things that are happening, and the desperate local governments are actually rolling up private property, taking rights, and actually the Chinese people are now starting to rise up at the lower levels. They're assassinating state representatives. They're burning down factories that they used to work in. And now they're putting posters everywhere that nobody's ripping them down, saying down with the CCP, down. So as Xi Jinping and the factions try to duke it out for who's really in charge of the country, it's the Chinese people themselves that might be determining here that the Mao dynasty has finally come and run its course.
Wouldn't it be great 36 years after Tiananmen Square? Blaine Holt, always good to have you on. Dangerous Intellectuals Podcast is the name of your podcast, and I love the intro to it, by the way, and the content is fantastically compelling. Where can people find that and all of your work, brother?
Come to me at dangerousintellectuals.com or on X at Danger Thinking. And just put out an article today on Canada's ostriches going down and the Marxism there on Newsmax.com on the Insiders page as the irascible disruptor. And I'm always appreciative of being on your radio show, my friend.
All right, you're a good man. We'll talk soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. That was a great interview. That guy, I can't wait till he comes to D.C. or something, get to hang out with him, because he's just a fascinating cat, man. I met him in New York like 5 years ago, and I was like, there's something about this guy. What do we got over here on YouTube? We've got Creative Scapes. Hello, Creative Scapes. You're new. Good to see you. Mickey Hastings, you're popular. Shelby Bensley. Hello, Shelby Bensley. MKFR2HN, the robot, says, I miss Bob Barker. Why do you miss Bob Barker? Well, everybody misses Bob Barker. You know, I mean, it's, what's his name on Price is Right? He's okay, but it's not Bob Barker. It's just not Bob Barker. Prani Yuprachad says, I love listening to Blaine Holt. Wasn't that a fascinating interview? Wasn't it? I'm talking about Ukraine. He's bringing up stuff like stuff that I would know. I had no idea. I talked to Gordon Chang on China. He's telling me things about China I didn't know about. And I'm hoping and praying that China falls, that the CCP falls finally 36 years after Tiananmen Square. 36 years after Tiananmen Square. It was my first year in broadcasting, by the way. We got over here Russell Reeves. Hello. Hard to end this war when you have a sociopath leading one side and wannabe grifter on the other. Yeah, you're right. You've got a corruptocrat on the Ukrainian side, and then you've got a monster throwback to the Soviet Union and the Russian side. And it's awful. It's cost millions of people injuries and death. The worst. Unbelievable. All right, we got to talk. We got to talk here. I'm going to talk about here. Yeah. Van Allen. Love him. So, Blaine Holt, that was a fascinating interview. I thought that was absolutely amazing. And if you get a chance to check out the podcast today, Blaine Holt's interview just there, we talked about everything from Ukraine, gave us some great insider information. I mean, I don't think I've heard anyone go in depth as much as Blaine just did. It was just fascinating to listen to. So there you go. Just go to your usual podcast platforms, if you would. Look up Rob Carson Show. I thought that was absolutely remarkable. So this is kind of interesting. The Supreme Court is going to decide if Trump can control riots against ICE facilities using the National Guard. J.B. Pritzker, whatever, and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson won a district injunction against Donald Trump's use of the National Guard or other military to quell the riots and violent disorder in Chicago, Portland, and Los Angeles. This is essentially like Orville Faubus did and like the Democrat Party has done, standing in the schoolhouse doors. By the way, I just got a report out of Chicago that carjackings are down 50% since the National Guard has been sent there. And robberies are down, murders are down, all of the things that they're afraid of being solved, because the Democrat Party in cities like Chicago, they want to keep people, particularly people of color, uneducated, impoverished, dependent, and aggrieved. That is their goal. That is their goal. And once that falls, it all falls down. Here is Brandon Johnson. He wants to bring in the United Nations. The United Nations to battle Donald Trump and ICE.
Mayor Brandon Johnson is asking the United Nations to intervene to stop your operations. Here is what he said before the UN Human Rights Council. Listen to this.
The federal government's immigration enforcement has been marked by violence and an assault on the dignity of all Chicagoans. I call on this council to hold the federal
on the United Nations
government of the United States,
one of the most corrupt organizations in the history of the world,
States to the same standards.
Yeah, bring the blue helmets here. Let's see how long they last.
Accountability you apply elsewhere in the world. No country should be above international law.
Oh, dear God, we are not ruled by international law.
The Human Rights Council to consider additional measures of accountability, including a special session to examine the worsening human rights.
They are desperate. They do not want the wall, the essentially the Berlin Wall, to fall between people in America's inner cities and the rest. They want to keep them angry, impoverished, and uneducated. Lawyers close to the case say that constitutes rebellion or insurrection and justifies the use of the military. Otherwise, civilian law enforcement would be sufficient. So let's hope and pray that this doesn't work out for Brandon Johnson. This would be basically the opposite of what the National Guard was able to do when Eisenhower was the president. And there's no doubt about it, the Democrat Party is as racist as it's ever been. Let's take a break and come back. Last hour of the show right ahead. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
Hold it now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
We are broadcasting live on radio stations around the country, including glorious KSCO in Santa Cruz, all of the Benny Media radio stations across the great state of New Hampshire, WGMD in Rehoboth, and WCBM, our anchor station in Baltimore, Maryland, and all over the place. So we're so proud to be on those great radio stations and also streaming live on all Newsmax social media as well. And then, of course, we do a podcast every single day. It's really it's the show, and what we do is we take the show and we put it into three bite-sized segments, the individual hours, including all of the interviews and whatnot, and just go to your usual podcast platforms and get that if you would. And on Spotify, there's a little bell you just ring, and then they'll give you an idea when it's coming up and whatnot. But we are on live on Newsmax social media. I talk to you guys on social media, on the Facebook and on the Instagram and the Rumbly-Roo and X and YouTube. So a lot of people watch it. A lot of people watching, a lot of people listening. I'm very blessed to do what I do for a living. It is a dream come true. It is a dream come true. So Zoran Mondami, he's a little punk. He had to have somebody spot him benching 135 pounds. Yeah, I know. Sorry to all you guys who can't bench 135 pounds. But anyway, he talked smack the other night when he won his election in New York City about Donald Trump.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
Yeah, he's a little bug. He has no life experience at all. They were trying to compare him somehow to Donald Trump. There's no comparison at all. He's a mouthy little a fop. He has no life experience. He has no ability to run anything or do anything. And he's been supported by a bunch of ignoramuses. Other than that, he's a nice guy. Well, he all of a sudden wants to make nice with Donald Trump. I don't know if you know about it. He wants to make nice with Donald.
I will be proactive in the work that I do, and I think that is because of the responsibility I hold to 8.5 million people of being their mayor. It is important that you are open to working with anyone, no matter what disagreements you may have. And I've said this when it pertains to President Trump, that if President Trump wants to speak about lowering the cost of living or delivering cheaper groceries like he ran on, I'm there to have that conversation. The distinction will be that previous administration.
No, he was a despot. He's all these terrible things. Why would you want to even talk to him, man? You said that you talked right to Donald Trump. You said, Donald Trump is watching me right now. You're a bug.
Have looked to have that conversation to the benefit of themselves and the expense of the people.
I hope Donald Trump cuts him off completely.
That we look to serve.
Understood, but do you plan
He's a communist.
Call President Trump?
I will be reaching out to the White House and as we prepare to actually take office.
I wouldn't hold your breath on him picking up the phone.
Because this is a relationship that will be critical to the success of the
So
city.
it wasn't just a hypothetical scenario on our debate stage.
No.
You're actually going to call him. What will you say?
Well, I'll say that I'm here to work for the benefit of everyone that calls the city home, and that wherever there is a possibility for working together towards that end, I'm ready.
Oh, man, no. You burned a bridge, brother. I got a funny feeling when you burn a bridge like that. I mean, he's kind of made a little up with Elon, but you ain't Elon. You ain't even close to Elon. You're a bug. You're an intellectual. You've done nothing in your life but mouth off. You have no life experience. You have no ability to run anything, and you're turning the country toward communism. Plus, also, you're an anti-Semite. So there's that. Carl Higbie the other night had some. I've been telling you about the Democrat Party and who they're run by, and this started. When Kamala Harris was named the presidential nominee and you didn't have a vote, Democrats, I know, and you still think it's fine, whatever. Honestly, wow. That said, I said that the Democrat Party was operated by liberal cul-de-sac dwelling white women and the emasculated men in their lives. And it's true. It is 100% true. Except for you throw in some of the 20-something women who have gauged ears and purple hair and are just constantly unhappy. Those are young liberal women, and they're the most subject to social contagion, like the nonsense associated with transgenderism and all of that. So that's your Democrat Party. And here is Carl Higbie talking about the ignoramuses who voted for Zoran Mondami.
Women voters. 84% of women
under 30.
Yeah.
65% of women 30 to 34 voting blue. 81% of women voted for Ma'am Danny. They can't even tell you why they voted
Listen
for
to
her.
this.
How you feel about Zoran winning?
I'm happy about it.
Why are you happy about it?
I don't know. I don't really know. I just do.
It really makes women look
keeps
bad.
all the like cute TikToks of him like partying and clubbing, and honestly, he's like one for the people, you know?
That's why you support him?
Yeah.
I don't know. Enjoy your bread lines. 80% of young women voted in New Jersey for Cheryl. 78% voted for Spanberger in Virginia. These, in large part, are the same women that will stand out there and tell you, I don't feel safe, while casting a ballot for the guy who just promised to empty out the prisons and that violence is a social construct.
Yeah, this is, and I've talked to you a little bit about stop it, computer, damn it. I've talked to you a little bit about these, the pathos associated with women who fall in love with death row inmates. And the self-loathing liberal, they kind of cross streams and elect people like that. And they're the ones who actually end up getting people loaded onto train cars. While the rest of us go, hey, what's going on? But have you ever noticed, if you, go to your news feed on Twitter or whatever, the bat guano crazy left women. The Republican women are always very smart. There's no hate. There's no, celebration of Charlie Kirk's murder. The very far left women in this country have really taken a dark turn, right into evil and mental illness. And those are the people who voted for Zoran Mandami. And as far as I'm concerned, I say that you don't help them at all. Just let it go. Yon yon, New York. 2 words. Yon yon. Yon yon, New York. Good luck. Good luck. You decided you wanted to elect a liberal, communist, anti-Semitic Islamist as the mayor of the city. So go ahead, try your little social experiment. I told you it's like when your daughter brings home a bad boy boyfriend who's kind of abusive and kind of a jerk. Nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you're going to be able to say that's going to convince her that he is bad news. You just got to let it happen and then hope, that you can pick up the pieces when it's all over. And it's very sad, but again, it's the same pathos. It's as when the shooter who killed the banker in New York, the women fall into love with him, and death row inmates and all of this. I don't know what it is about liberal women. They're a little bit nuts. They're just a little bit nuts. I got something I want you to hear. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Where is it? Oh, yes, here it is. I want you to listen to this. I just discovered this song. And I want you to listen to a little bit of this song and tell me, it's a country song, all right, and you tell me what makes this country song different from any other country song. Play a little bit of it here.
Been beat down, but I don't stay low. Got mud on my jeans, still ready to go.
Good voice.
Every scar's a story that I survived. I've been through hell, but I'm still alive. They said, slow down, boy, don't go too fast.
Come on now.
But I ain't never been one to live in the past. I keep moving forward, never looking back, with a worn-out hat and a 6-string strap.
Let's get to the hook.
You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking.
Hey, you know what it is about that song?
Ain't changing my tone.
It's not a human being.
My song, I was born this way, been loud
It's AI.
You can hate my style, you can roll your
They just
eyes,
plugged it in.
I ain't slowing down, I was born to rise.
And it charted on the Billboard charts. Yeah, that song. It's number 1 on the Country Digital Songs chart. Walk My Walk by a band called Breaking Rust. According to Billboard, Breaking Rust was created by AI. There have been a couple songs that have shown up on my Spotify. There's a guy doing a stylized version of Slim Shady, I think it is. And I'm wondering if that is the same people who did that. It's very good. There's a couple songs that it says fake music on my Spotify. I got a real problem with this because I'm a creator. And And we should have a major problem with this because this takes away our humanity. I mean, there are a lot of jobs that have been replaced because of, whatever sort of automation or whatnot. And AI is going to do a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you, I talked to a kid the other day. I was over here in Old Town Alexandria, talking to a young man, and I just got to know him. I said, well, tell me about yourself. He's 27 years old. He just got out of college. He's a some sort of a computer programmer. I don't know exactly what it was. And he said, I went to school 4 years, and I've been replaced. The AI has made my degree worthless. And I was like, whoa. And I said, well, what are you doing now? He goes, well, I'm working at a gym. And, I'm doing this and that. And then I proceeded to talk to him about, how you need to increase the value of your currency and do what you got to do while you have to get where you want to be. I had to do that when I sold cars for 3 years. I wanted to jump off a building, but this is something that has to be labeled. It has to be, I don't know if it can be stopped. But I just think that it's a slippery slope when you're replacing talent. There are I know people in radio who are using sampled voices and doing their radio imaging with voices that they're not paying. Not acceptable at all. Not acceptable at all. And this includes also bringing people back to life, using maybe having Elvis doing whatever. You're seeing a lot of that. There's got to be a point where we go, enough is enough is enough. We're taking away our humanity. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Had you heard that song before, Brian? Hey, guys.
3, 2, 1. I've created a monster, 'cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more.
This is a
They
cover
want shady, I'm chopped liver.
of Eminem.
This is what I give you. A little
has
bit
been
of
going
lyrics
around.
with some hard liquor.
And I was wondering if this was AI.
Start my heart quicker than a shock when I get shot at the hospital.
It's really
by
good.
the doctor when I'm not cooperating. When I'm rocking the table
Oh,
while
my
he's
goodness.
operating. Hey, you waited this long to stop debating, 'cause I'm back.
But I'm going to tell you, the AI thing is very frightening. And if you were just listening, you heard there was a song, country number one on the country digital song sales, "Walk My Walk" by a band called Breaking Rust, made up completely of computer-generated lyrics, the whole deal. And I'm not down with this, not one little bit. Not one little bit. Pollsters asked 9,000 people to listen to 2 clips of AI-generated music, and 51% said the technology would lead to more quality, low-quality music on streaming platforms. 2/3 believe it will end up in a loss of creativity. It's going to end up in a loss of jobs. It's got to clearly be labeled, by the way. 80% of survey respondents wanted AI-generated music clearly labeled for listeners, and it should be. It is, it's, man, we cannot take that from our humanity. It's the same way with art. It's the same way with any art, you know. And listen, it's a tough road to hoe to be an artist, you know, whether you be an actor, whether you be a comedian, whether you be somebody who puts, paint to canvas, whether it's somebody who talks on a microphone. Yes, I consider myself to be an artist. Thank you very much. Because this is my product. Right here, every day, I stand naked in front of you. Actually, I'm fully clothed. But I do. Every day, the only thing I have to offer is me. That's it. I don't, I've sold cars. I get it. But you know what? You know why how I was able to sell cars? Because I was selling the cars. That's the thing. And once we succumb to AI taking over the creative process, and machines are going to be good at everything, maybe better than us at everything. They're going to become much smarter than us. In fact, that many already are. That's and then of course they become self-realizing, and then they start murdering us. But that said, it's something we need to. It's a strange new world. There are some amazing things coming with AI, because AI, when it's triggered, and when you put it on the cure for cancer, it's going to cure cancer. It's going to cure cancer. Joe Biden promised he was going to cure cancer. Then he forgot. But it's going to cure cancer. It's going to help people who can't walk again. It's going to do some amazing things. AI is going to do it, and it's going to do it in a heartbeat, because that's the way it is. It doesn't just go through a process. It doesn't go through a series of commutations and it takes a week to do it. It just has it. It's there. And then, I'm really waxing esoteric here, but there's something coming that's called infinite intelligence, and that's when it gets really weird. And that's when you're like meeting God. Then we don't even know it's going to happen. Infinite intelligence, something that learns exponentially. It learns forever. It's more than you expected to hear out of this show today, didn't you? Yeah, I know you're thinking I'm all about telling jokes and stuff, but no. I'm a deep thinker. I'm a deep thinker. I think about these things because, there's something bigger than us. We aren't just microscopic beings on a speck of dust floating around in outer space. There's some other stuff going on. Man, what a weird thing that we're born into, right? We kind of got to deal with it. I think a lot about this stuff. Tulsi Gabbard is talking about this grand conspiracy probe seeking to prove a cabal of deep state Democrats led by Barack Obama tried to destroy Donald Trump and us, by the way, and us. Here is Tulsi Gabbard.
We look at where we are now. Over the last several weeks, we've declassified and released documents that exposed how President Obama and leaders in the intelligence community knowingly manufactured a false intelligence document after the 2016 election was done, after the American people said, no, we want Donald Trump to go and be our commander-in-chief, not Hillary Clinton. And this manufactured document alleged that Russia aspired to help President Trump win the election, with the aim of undermining his presidency and usurping the will and the voices of the American people who sent Trump to the White House.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that was going on, very Soviet kind of stuff with our government when Barack Obama was pulling the strings for Joe Biden. This is DOJ pardon attorney Ed Martin talking about the grand conspiracy behind January the 6th.
I can say that the scope of that problem of J6 is almost mind-boggling. The conduct of the government, the law enforcement, the day, it's unbelievable. But we're in it, and we're in it hard, and we're in it on a lot of different. As in weaponization, we have had people come in and they say, I was targeted as a J6 defendant in this way. And we've had to look at how that happened. And it's opened up a whole set of questions about how government was being used that wouldn't have come into our minds when we first started. In other words, the scope of this investigation is so big, but up on Capitol Hill, in terms of that day, there's a lot to still unpack, and it's being unpacked. And I don't like to make, now that I'm one of the people investigating, I don't like to comment on what I see as the grand X or Y, but I just can tell you, I am very, very confident that we are getting to the truth, that we are getting to accountability.
Everything that when they said our opinions were disinformation and misinformation, it meant we knew the truth. That's why they needed to shut it down. Here's Mike Benz talking about the 2020 election. They started talking about shutting us down as it was happening, before it happened.
One of the things that I think is useful to understand about the 2020 election cycle is how the censorship happened way before Trump was banned himself through these very same networks that played a role in pre-censorship of anything that might challenge a hypothetical upcoming Red Mirage Blue Shift event. The Atlantic Council, for example, 7 CIA directors on their board, government funded from the U.S. military, State Department, National Endowment for Democracy, CIA cutouts like that, USAID. They had a formal partnership with this anti-Trump node at DHS called CISA. It was supposed to be a cybersecurity division, but they ended up asserting long-arm jurisdiction over social media posts by arguing that elections are critical infrastructure, so anything that undermines public faith and confidence in elections, election processes, or election outcomes is an attack on critical infrastructure. So if you, in the summer of 2020, tweeted out, hey, I don't think that universal mass mail-in ballots are a safe and reliable way to conduct an election, that was pre-censored by some of the darkest forces that operate within this CIA, military, State Department nexus, who all had extreme beefs with President Trump.
Yeah, it was a grand conspiracy, and I hope that a lot of people are tried, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison or worse. And I'm leaning into the or worse for what they did to us. Coming up, Cliff Maloney, CEO, Citizens Alliance, on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Guys, don't propose with a ring that she didn't pick out. Trust us, she already has a ring in mind. So engage with Gage Diamonds, in person or online, where Gage's skilled ring designers will work with her to create the perfect setting, matched with the perfect stone. Gage specializes.
Hey guys, it's Carson, not proud member of the 4 a.m. club. You know what that is? Well, that's the time that I usually wake up every night and can't get back to sleep. Then I found Beam's Dream Powder. Now, Beam's Dream Powder is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients, including reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. It's designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling amazing. And unlike other sleep aids, there's no next day grogginess, just great restful sleep. Plus, Dream tastes incredible, and it's become a part of my nightly routine. Simple, easy, effective. Dream is made right here in America, supporting jobs, quality, and the principles we stand for in America. Thank you very much. Beam is going to give my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount, up to 40%. Try their best-selling Dream Powder. Get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Newsmax, you can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax. That's shopbeam.com/Newsmax. Again, use the code Newsmax at checkout. That's beam.com/Newsmax and use code word Newsmax for up to 40% off.
Street protesters, we've had our fill, but Randy Fine has a bill, says move them on over, run them all
protesters blocking all our roads. The thump bill is what it's called. I'm sure the left will be appalled, but move them on over. Run them all over. Step on the gas if they won't step aside. Sure, it might leave a dent, but make them a hood ornament. Run them all over. Thump them all over. If they block our streets, they'll get what they deserve. Tim Walz is a lefty who's ruined his state. Now he wants our children to self-mutilate. His policies are disgusting and lewd. And now he says schools have to include tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz and Kamala, a couple of fools. And everybody knows that liberals want to ruin schools. Tim allowed his cities to be burned by BLM. Criminals, illegals, they can count on Tim. His uniform, Tim was disgraced. He really crossed the line the moment that he placed tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz is a commie. Kamala is too. And everyone should know the damage that these two could do. Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're mostly Democrats like B.B. Harris. They cry when they lose from their left-wing views. I wish they'd spare us. They're cat ladies. Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their mind.
People that are pro-life, I hate you.
Got called out by J.D. Vance. When he had the chance, he really nailed them. They're too dumb to know. Kamala and Joe have really failed them. They're cat ladies.
I mean, I have to admit, the police at Berkeley, they did a good job, but however, they still did not allow, and they allowed these domestic terrorists, because that's what they are. You're trying to scare people and intimidate them with tear gas, with things that sound like gunfire, with, rattling and preventing people from entering, and intimidation. That is terrorism. That's domestic terrorism.
That is Rob Schneider talking about the TPUSA event at Berkeley the other night. And I got to tell you, I came up with an expression a while back. It's going to be the title of my book. Yes, it's nearly written. It's called Homeboys, Hillbillies, and Hebrews, How We Came Together to Save America. And there's going to be a point where we, hillbillies, homeboys, and Hebrews, are going to have to deliver a beatdown to the left, because they're delivering it to us right now. Enough is enough with this nonsense, this temper tantrum. It has started years and years ago on university campi. It started with, protesting Ann Coulter, protesting whoever, and then it became conservative voices are violent, and then it became, chasing Jews in the libraries, and then what happened at the TPUSA event the other night, and I'm frickin' done with it. I am absolutely done with it. We are better armed intellectually and physically. I'm leaving it up to the authorities right now, but I'm going to tell you, there may be a time where we all have to get together and say, enough is enough is enough. Joining us on the Newsmax Hotline, Cliff Maloney, the CEO of Citizens Alliance. How you doing, brother? What's going on today?
Rob, I'm doing great as always. Appreciate your audience, a bunch of patriots, and glad to be here.
I got to tell you, I'm done with this nonsense. There is no reason why we should have to live in fear that Antifa will show up and try to silence our speech. This is just bullcrap. It cannot exist in this country.
Yeah, and look, I have to agree. Andrew Colvett, I don't know if it was on Newsmax or Fox, but I caught a clip of Andrew, who is the producer for the Charlie Kirk Show. You know, he said these words, and I thought it was fascinating. He said, "Why are the cops just standing there?"
Yeah.
And I think that's such a great question from Andrew because it's the truth. Like, people say, obviously, oh, it's on both sides. That's baloney. I mean, it just really is. We don't use this type of violence on our side. But that really jerks me. Is like, what are the Berkeley and these other campuses? What are these police officers doing?
Here is
they should just allow them.
Here is Andrew Colvett talking about that. Just that. I'll play the soundbite for you.
It seems like it was a coordinated attack on a peaceful event, and you can't make this stuff up, as you said in your lead up. That they say in their flyers that we're inciting violence just by being on campus and hosting an event with Rob Schneider, a comedian, an actor. And the irony is just so rich because they say that our words are violence.
Yeah, they started doing that on university campuses years ago, saying that words are violence. And this was a setup. This was a precursor to this. These are words that have been used. This has been incremental. I've watched it happen for 30 years, and it is reaching a crescendo. And it reached a crescendo the other night. And this is the antithesis of what Berkeley supposedly was supposed to be, what liberalism was supposed to be, which is open-minded. But clearly these people are afraid. They're afraid of the truth. They're afraid of the truth coming out, and they know they will be defeated.
Yeah, and look, irony is the right word, Rob, right? It is so ironic that this is happening in Berkeley. Look, I got a story for you. The Antifa handbook, when it came out, the anti-fascist handbook written by Mark Bray, I'm on page 145, I believe, and ask me why. Because I wrote an op-ed in Time magazine calling for campus free speech to be a priority for everyone across the aisle. And because of that, they put me in the handbook because they said, oh, Cliff Maloney, he's protecting hate speech. He's protecting the idea that speech is not violent.
Of course, they call it hate speech. It's hate speech. You know why they hate? They call it hate speech because it's speech they hate. That's what I've been saying for years.
Yeah, and that's, it's a shame. I agree with what Rob Schneider said. I mean, this is domestic terrorism to stop the political opinions of your opponent. And you're exactly right. It's speech they hate, and you can see it in full display with the Berkeley event.
I live in Northern Virginia. There is a group of artists, a collective here that have a big gallery, and everybody has individual booths. And when I first moved here, I went in and I saw a little display. It said, October the 7th. Remember October the 7th. And I walked over and spoke to the woman who owned this little gallery, and I just said, I want you to know I'm a supporter of Israel. And she spoke in hushed tones. It ultimately came out that she is a conservative. She's a Catholic, but some of the other artists in her area are Jewish, and some of the other artists in the group are Jewish and not necessarily conservative, but scared for their lives. Scared for their lives. And I said, they didn't want to speak too loud. Because over the partition in the other galleries, you could hear your opinions, and they didn't want to be ostracized or threatened. Now, this is not America. This is 1939 Germany, and that's the kind of crap that we saw at the TPUSA event the other night. And this has got to come to a very rapid halt.
Yeah, and look, I think people have a choice to make, and that choice is, do you put yourself out there and face potential threats, face the violence, and stand up to it, or do you back down, right? Do you do what the left, the radicals want you to do, which is shut up?
No.
Because if you do that, they win. And so that's why, people tell me, look, is it weird for me to have security when we do public events now?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm an activist, Rob.
Yeah.
I'm not an influencer, right? I'm out here knocking doors, building these teams. I'm a guy that's an operator.
Yeah.
And in 2025, the fact that I have to have security with me says that the left not has won, but that you have to take extra steps. But this idea that we're going to stop and be silent, absolutely not. We must double down and keep speaking truth.
The other night, I was talking to one of the artists, and there's another jackass in the gallery who's put up a sign on the exterior facing outward towards the public that says Charlie Kirk was a piece of bleep, and basically espousing for the murder of Donald Trump. And she said, how should I respond to this? And I suggested a poster board that says, the more you try to silence, the louder the message gets, or something like that. And I said, put a picture of Charlie Kirk up there, also Martin Luther King Jr. and Jesus Christ, and see what they have to say about that. Because honestly, I said when I moved here, I lived in Kansas City, a conservative area of Kansas City, and I'm just quite simply not going to accept this. I won't be hushed. I won't be hushed. I've lived through 30 years of conservative apartheid in this country. I have seen it when I wrote for Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh, he was kept from buying an NFL team. He tried to buy an NFL team, but they shut him down. They cried racism. They went after his sponsors. And I'm quite simply done with it, Cliff.
Yeah, and look, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think that, they want you to be silent, right? And here's the other thing. You talk about how do you respond to some of these evil, vile people. And I always tell people, it's not that you don't engage, but just understand one thing. You cannot persuade the devil.
No.
Some of these people are too far gone. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth your time.
Yes.
Spend your resources, spend your energy talking to those in the middle, or those that are undecided, or those that are persuadable, rather than trying to go out there to these radicals. They are brainwashed, Rob.
Oh, yeah. I know. I went to an Elon Musk is a Nazi rally. Remember a couple months ago, Elon Musk was a Nazi, and then apparently he's not a Nazi anymore. And I went to one of these rallies, and I realized the folly of trying to talk to these morons. I had a friend wearing a Star of David. They called him a Hitler. They called him a Nazi. I'm like, okay, there's no point in being here. Hey, Cliff, can you hold on? I want to talk a little bit about John Fetterman and how one of the only voices of reason coming out of the Democrat Party. If you can hold on, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
7105.
You remember earlier in the week when I said if you would have purchased or had 10 ounces of gold from Monday to Tuesday, you would have made $1,000? Well, today you would have made $2,000. Price of gold is nearly $4,200 an ounce. Started this week at $4,000. Started in January 2,600. Birch Gold, you might want to text my name to them before it becomes more than you can afford. If you're tired of your 401k or your IRA just laying there doing nothing like Joe Biden's brainwaves, you might want to just text my name, Rob, to 989898. That's Birch Gold. I've been telling you about it for a while. Guys, it went up $100 since yesterday. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty. Birch Gold is going to help you out a little bit, too, because by Black Friday, if you invest in Birch Gold, they will send you free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. All right? It's time to put your money to use and to work. Gold is the way to do it right now. $200 since Monday. $200 an ounce since Monday. $2,600 in January. It's $4,200. Oh, my Lord. Birch Gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Claim your eligibility and for a free gold info kit. No obligación, only información. But the free gold opportunity ends November 30th. Text Rob to 989898 for full details.
I think my party crossed a line of now putting 42 million Americans with their SNAP benefits and making flying less safe and that kinds of chaos and not paying our military. I mean, that was a red line for me that I can't cross as a Democrat. And I think that's been described country over the party. And now that I think that's been...
What did he just say, Clip Maloney? Did he say country over party? Is that a Democrat? What the hell?
Rob, if you would have told me 2 years ago that the most sane Democrat in America would be John Fetterman, I would have told you I've got beachfront property to tell you.
But Cliff, you know what? You know what happens when your computer's doing weird stuff? You turn it off and turn it on. That's what happened to his brain. He turned it off and turned it on, and it reset.
Yeah, and listen, I love the videos that he's doing with the senator we got elected in 2024, Dave McCormick. And look, I tell people, Pennsylvania's going to be tough. You've got Shapiro on the ballot in 26 and Fetterman in 28. He is going to make it a very, very difficult state because, he is really the only rational Democrat in the Senate. I mean, you could argue that sometimes, there's a couple of folks that are more independent, but for him to vote the way he's voting, and this has been my problem so far, Rob. Yeah. His rhetoric has been great for about a year.
I know.
2 years, right? Yeah. But his votes on a lot of the nominations and a lot of things that were key battles, he hasn't been with us. But if he starts voting with us and keeps up the rhetoric, he's going to be tough to beat in 2028.
Well, he does occasionally stray off the common sense reservation. Don't get me wrong. But this Democrat Party has really turned in the very, very wrong and very dark direction. And they think that, Bernie Sanders has been trying to light the wet match of socialism in this country for 40 years, and it's failed every damn time. And they're thinking that somehow Zoran Mandami winning New York is going to catch fire across the country. It's not. I know that there are people who are very concerned about it. I talked to Brianna Lyman the other day, and she's convinced, oh, my God, this could be whatever. It's not going to take fire across America. It's the same people who are doing these rallies at Berkeley and all of this, but I think it's going to be very damaging to the Democrat Party unless they take a turn toward what Fetterman is espousing. Otherwise, this party disappears into the dustbin of history.
Well, Rob, I got this wrong on your show. A couple months ago, I said, look, I'm predicting they're finally going to have the pendulum swing back, right? I'm predicting that after this loss in 2024, that they would have a look in the mirror and say, hey, if we want to be a national party again, we have to swing back And what have they done?
Yeah.
They've doubled down on men in girls' sports. They've doubled down on illegal immigrants over American citizens. And they've got no plan. There's no vision. And their leader, apparently, is an avowed socialist in Mamdani out of New York. So I'm waiting for the pivot. And if they don't pivot, it's probably very bad for America, but probably very good for Republicans electorally. But that's the question. When do they pivot back to sanity?
They're not.
Right now,
They're not. There's nobody on the bench. There's nobody on the bench that is espousing common sense. All of their mainstream leaders are espousing this nonsense. The only thing that Schumer did, he didn't officially endorse Mamdani, but they most of them lined up with a communist, anti-Semite Islamist because they knew he'd win, because they will vote for anyone if they think they can win.
Yeah, it's business. This is a religion for them. They don't believe in a God. They believe in power.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see this. Look, in every swing state right now, these folks are on the ground with no vision, no plan, but they're working it.
Yes.
Republicans want to talk policy. We want to talk solutions. We want to think and spend time with family. Democrats, this is their family. It's the power of politics. That's why they're going after the nuclear family.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm telling you, we got to fight fire with fire and be on the ground because they take no breaks. They don't have off years.
Scott Pressler is a fine example of that. That's what we need to be for sure. Hey, Cliff, man, great to touch base with you today. Great stuff. You are the CEO of Citizens Alliance. Where can people find all of your glorious work, sir?
Sure, on X at Maloney and CliffMaloney.com. That's CliffMaloney.com. Rob, you're a patriot. Appreciate you. Love your audience. Thanks for having me today.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All righty. Who are we watching here? Probably scared the poop out of their passengers. Pilots, okay, I know what you're talking about there. You Drink It says, I could care less if the Bull Boost Party disappears. Stop trying to advise them to improve. No, I don't want them to improve. I love that they're leaning left. I love that they're committing suicide. Absolutely love it. I think it's remarkably unself-aware for them to do that. Hello, Blockbuster 2K. What up with you? Good to see you today, watching on the YouTube-aloo and the Rumbly-roo. These are the names that I come up with for the platforms we're on here. Facebook, who's watching on Facebook? Facebook-aloo. Robert Lawson, Pranay Uperchat. Good to see you guys there. I hear we're getting like 1.2 million, 1.5 million impressions every week. I would encourage you to share with others if you would, please, because the audience is growing, and I think the thing that I like about it, you don't realize this, is that I'm sitting in a box by myself. I'm sitting in a dark room by myself here, and when I look up at the monitor and I see you guys talking, I know you're there. So it's an odd situation. It's an odd situation. It's almost like a I don't know, philosophy lesson about sitting in a dark room talking to yourself and reaching people. It's like the allegory of the cave, in a weird way. Plato's allegory of the cave. Man, I'm getting all sorts of philosophical and stuff today, man. I was talking about being on a piece of dust in the middle of infinity, and I was talking about infinite learning and AI. Here we go.
That's 3.5.
That's going to be my workout playlist today right here. I'm looking forward to getting back to the gym. I've been away for a few days. I've just been blasted busy. Did the Thanksgiving Spectacular, my TV show, Newsmax, Rob Carson's What in the World. We recorded the Thanksgiving Spectacular. and then just finished this weekend's show. It's really funny. I like to say that my brain is like, when I do that show, is like there's a brain, a cocaine-addled hamster between my ears. It's kind of funny that way. It's kind of funny that way. What was I going to play here? I was going to play something about Yeah, this woman who's chased out of the locker room. There's a man in this locker room dressed up like a woman in Gold's Gym in Los Angeles. Her name is Tish Hyman. She is a lesbian, and she's black. And she was speaking in front of a group of politicians last night, and one of these woke politicians was trying to convince her that that's actually a man and he's the victim.
Trans women are different things. Women, listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted. I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted.
Yeah, they're trying to say trans women are women, and no, they're not, because they have penises.
He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. I'm a lesbian. I'm not trans.
Yeah, this guy who was in the gym, who was dressed like a woman, beat his wife so badly that he broke her jaw.
And I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are.
This is about time that we've heard this, by the way.
I'm a lesbian, and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker room.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's about time some of those men had their asses dragged out.
Let's let him answer the question.
I'm just telling you, since y'all want to woo.
No, just let's.
Now I'm done. And by the way, I respect what you have done. I just want to let you know that.
Let's give the senator the opportunity.
I'm done.
I appreciate your point.
Now, this politician goes on to say that there are acts of violence being committed against trans women all the time. No, there aren't. You would be reading about it every day. They use that as some sort of excuse to defend men dressing up like women and going into women's locker rooms. Oh, yeah, trans women are getting attacked all the time. No, they're not. No, they're not. You would see in crime statistics. You would read it in headlines. It is merely a deflection. But this has run its course. This absurdity has run its course, and it's going to end when more people like her stand up, and more men say, enough is enough. We're not going to put up with this. We're not going to let this happen in my daughter's locker room. We're not going to have this happen in my wife's locker room. And buddy, you know what? You want some of this? Let's take it outside. That's just it. It's going to have to. You have to be exposed. You have to be removed. That's it. I'm not saying commit an act of violence, but I'm telling you, if you get somebody in your kid's locker room as a man, you go in there and you remove them. Sorry, that's just the way it's got to be, particularly a spouse abuser like that who's pretending to be a woman and actually took his wife's name. Yeah, he's nuts. Put the lotion in the basket. God bless you, America's founded. God bless Donald Trump and his glory administration. Until tomorrow, which is Thursday, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you then.
All right, Robbie, have a good night.
All right, Brian, talk to you later. Bye.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.